So a year ago, I spoke at Grace Notes, which was wonderful then and is even more wonderful now, about this thing we were starting called Project Alloy. I'll give some background. What is Project Alloy? Project Alloy is a nonprofit that some friends and I started, and our mission is to build a more inclusive technical community. And we do this in a very specific way, which is that if you're from an underrepresented background, and we're working with a technical conference that you would like to go to, we provide grants. Because getting there should be no barrier. We cover your airfare, we cover your hotel, we cover your conference tickets. Just go, okay? We're your people. How did that get started? I'd gotten to a place that I personally regarded as being pretty great. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. As Tess mentioned, I'm from a Jamaican background. Furthermore, my mom runs her own jewelry business, and my dad is a writer. Speaking of writers, I never really expected that I would be able to get as far as I have in tech from when I was a small kid. So I said, look at that, right? And I thought back on all of the critical moments that had led me to get to where I was. And I realized that along the way, other people had opened door after door for me. And said, well, that's fantastic, right? How lucky am I? Extremely lucky. I am now, spring of 2016, I said to myself, I am now in a place where I think I have the time, the resources, the relationships to do that for other people as well. And not only do I want to do that, I feel it is my responsibility to pay it forward. So why not? Let's do this. Thank you. You're too kind. So, as we do in our generation, I wrote this fevered Medium post. The change you want to see in the world. Extremely humble title. And it goes on from here. There's more. Believe me, there are several more paragraphs about how I felt that conferences are essentially clearinghouses for opportunity. And since writing this piece, I've now heard from hundreds of people. I got my job from going to this conference in 1997, and now I'm like the captain of whatever the heck. And I owe it all to having spent 3 days in Santa Cruz in 97 at like web tech, whatever. Or I have gotten every job I've ever had from conferences I've gone to. That's great. It's even better if you're in the room, which is why we send people to conferences. It might seem like a very specific thing, but we think that it is the right specific thing. So, this is the team behind Project Alloy. There are 3 of us, counting me. And I wrote this Medium post, and I duly posted it to Twitter and Facebook. And these friends of mine, Ian and Brooke, you see, and me as well, they basically wrote email to me and said, look, I read this, I want to be part of it, I'm looking to volunteer. And all of the credit for as far as we've gotten is due to us being able to work together as a team. These 2 are phenomenal. We've done incredible things together, and I couldn't be happier or prouder to get to work with Brooke or Ian. Additionally, I have to add this. All 3 of us are volunteers. We have accomplished what we have so far by meeting every single week for over a year and a half for an hour in our free time. That's it. That's all it takes. And in fact, here's a fun fact. In the entire time we've worked on Project Alloy together, except for 1 week, which was the week we were all attending the conference we were working with, we have never all been in the same time zone. Brooke is an extremely hardworking PhD student, and Ian also has a tech job, and I think our most far-flung call, if I'm remembering correctly, I was attending my best friend's wedding in New Zealand. Ian was in Colorado, and Brooke was doing research with people with chronic illness in South Africa. and had to get up at 5 in the morning and drive to town because she didn't have enough bandwidth, and literally, this actually happened, monkeys interrupted the video call at the house she was staying at. She drove to town in order to keep the call. These, incredible dedication, it's great. Okay. So, Project Alloy, broadly speaking, we feel that our mission is to bring people from underrepresented backgrounds to tech conferences, because we know, and I've been there, if you're the only Latina, if you're the only trans man, if you're the only lesbian in the room, that's hard. So we don't just want to send a person to a tech conference, we want to create a community, and we want to create a community of people who are going to support each other in their careers down the line. Right? Because when you know other people at that other company and you can trade notes and you can support each other and you can share notes about this job opportunity or come join me at this company, that's the thing we want to provide. We want to give back and give those opportunities to other people too. So the rest of this talk is designed to be about what it took specifically to make Project Alloy go. The first comment I'm going to give is a shout out to Strange Loop. Of course, if you want to send people to a technical conference, you have to have a technical conference to send people to. So the first mission we had was we wanted to find a tech conference because we said, look, we've never done this before. We don't know how this is going to go. We're complete newbies. We have a lot of enthusiasm, but it'd be great if we could find a conference that was going to be nice to us, that was going to realize that we were going to have to learn a lot, that was a conference we could learn a lot from, and that we could learn a lot from and even furthermore, scale what we learn to as many technical conferences as possible. We found Strange Loop. We were extremely excited to partner with Strange Loop because they have for years run their own program just like ours, to bring people from underrepresented backgrounds to attend. They have for years provided grants to cover travel, hotel, and tickets. And so I think we learned an immense amount from them. They've been incredibly supportive. The next thing we had to do to put together to make Project Alloy work is an application form. An application form sounds like a pretty straightforward task, right? I know how to make an application. You just go to Google Forms and you click deploy and it goes on your website. That is the technical half of the challenge. We more or less spent hours tearing our hair out talking about how to write an application that was going to get us familiar with our applicants and let us get to know people without intimidating people, without driving people away. So this is a shout out to a volunteer we got to work with, Karina Van Schardenberg, who's an extremely experienced user researcher who helped us immensely with writing this application. Step 3, we had to find sponsors. So we had incredible sponsors. These are their logos. They're all on our website because we're very grateful, in fact, to the companies we've been able to work with. But this is only half of the story. And I want to draw you away from that slide and point out to you that I think one thing we've spent an immense amount of time on, and immense especially compared to the scale of the result, because when you write letters to companies and can work on sponsorships, the contributions are frequently significant. But we felt that it was just as important to be supported of and by the tech community. So it's not enough for us to go to companies and say, we'd like to partner with you. We've also received donations from engineers working in the tech world who themselves believe in our mission and want to see the tech world become a more egalitarian place, to be more inclusive. So we receive donations monthly from engineers who say, I'd like to contribute a little bit every month to this mission, and that is extremely important to us. I'll add too, for a lot of nonprofits, subscription donations are a big deal. Many people, I think, don't see this, but you need to have that constant contribution because sponsorships are often a little more lumpy or unpredictable. Another thing you'll notice that I just want to throw out there. And this is a screenshot from our website. All of our color scheme is designed to be inclusive of people who are colorblind, and in choosing our name and our colors for our website, we wanted to always be able to communicate in a color palette that was going to be inclusive as well. So if you have questions, we have spent a lot of time thinking about that kind of thing. So, the actual event. This is a screenshot from, we invited a special guest speaker. This is Aston Motes. He was the first employee at Dropbox because we believe representation is important. And he came and he gave a 5-minute talk. And what I loved the most, and I didn't fully know what he might say, was his talk as well was about doors that had been opened. This is a repeating theme that we heard about how before he knew what programming was, somebody had suggested it to him as a direction, and that he was there in turn to encourage people to think about opening doors as you can too. Finally, the big day. This is us. We were able to send over 120 people to attend Strange Loop. Thank you. We threw a party because, of course, we threw a party. Not everybody came, so this is in fact not all 123 of us and me and Ian and Brooke in the corner and Aston, but we had an event that was a large number of our grantees attended. So that's Project Alloy. Thank you. I want to add a couple words. So how can you help? If you think Project Alloy is great, the most direct way is to donate, and furthermore, to encourage other people to donate too. We love that. Honestly, every single dollar helps us to increase our mission. And in the next year, we're looking to grow and expand to include even more conferences and send even more people to conferences they should be at. If you're at a company, consider talking to your leadership, or if you're in leadership, consider sponsoring Project Alloy. I can provide template emails if you find it challenging to discuss these things with your manager. I'm there for you. And if you are affiliated with organizations that can help us spread the word, that's something we care about a lot. I think I originally meant to mention this at the beginning, but we found it critical not to spread the word about our application on Twitter because it is already a filter. So we see our role as being one where for conferences, we can help spread the word through working with other organizations to people who really should be hearing about it, who aren't already subscribed to every mailing list in the world and extremely plugged in, because that itself is already a filter that we want to break through. If I haven't covered your desires to support Project Alloy so far, we also receive email. hi@projectalloy.org. Feel free to let us know what the weather's like in your area or any other possible topic. We love hearing from people. That is the talk about Project Alloy.